Welcome to part 28 of Looky Here. And this is June 30th of 2024. And I want to jump right back into this video. I want to get these percentages and stuff up here, because I want you to understand about the apostasy of the church. This is talking about heretical churches, by the way, a lot of them. These other denominations, they fell away and went to that, and now they've fallen away. Everybody's continuing to fall away from the truth, which is the apostles' doctrine. And then once you do that and you get into these heretical churches, it's not long before you're just completely out of the church completely. And the church is out of you.
As Christians in 1972, it's about 65% today, and the share of Americans who are white Christians is now below half. The nuns have gone from N-O-N-E-S, have gone from 5% of America in 1972 to almost 30% of America today. Amongst young people, it's over 40% of America. So we're facing an entirely different religious landscape today than we did even 30 years ago.
The population of Jefferson County is shrinking as it ages, and its politics have swung further to the right. In 2000, voting 54% in favor of George W. Bush, to nearly 72% in favor of President Trump in 2020. Volunteers here join from across local denominations, but this outreach is organized by another mainline denomination in steep decline. The United Methodist Church has fallen from 11 million people in 1967 to half of that today, and in just the past 2 years, lost about a quarter of its churches over issues surrounding same-sex marriage and LGBTQ clergy.
The Lord's table is the place where the distinctions between rich and poor, powerful and powerless are erased.
On a recent Sunday morning, though, First United Methodist pews were mostly full, with more joining online. And a full choir leading the congregation, including Keith and Cheryl Cox.
They're inclusive. This here church is inclusive of the world. So they're filling up. That's not God filling those pews. He adds to the church daily them that would be saved. These are not going to be saved if they don't come out of this lie. They're being inclusive to the LGBTQ community. The devils are starting to pack into churches. They make it themselves to be angels of light. Are you understanding that? Or why wouldn't his followers, for even the devil himself, make it himself to be an angel of light? But if you are not doing the will of God, you are not of the light. You are of the darkness. And it doesn't matter how much you pretend to be something, you can't be that. You got these people out here, you got men pretending to be women, women pretending to be men. It doesn't matter how much you pretend to be that thing, you will never be that Pinocchio. And let me tell you another something, you'll never be a furry. That's not what God created you to be. That's not what you were born as. You will never be these things. You're just living in a pretend world, and until you get into the truth and live the will of God and be who God created you to be, you will never be happy. You will never be satisfied. You will never be truly free, and you will never be saved.
One more time.
A decade ago, Keith, a retired choir director, and Cheryl, a former German teacher and school administrator, moved from northern Illinois to the family farm here. The first church they joined closed, with too few members to sustain it. The next one, a Methodist church close to home, didn't align with their views on supporting border migrants. Now, Keith and Cheryl drive 45 minutes each way, twice a week, to sing in the choir and worship at First United Methodist in Mount Vernon.
It's the best 45-minute drive that I have on a regular basis because I do feel uplifted when I go to the church. And I can't say that that's been true even at the other Methodist churches that I've been to.
And recognizing that politics was now a part of the church set of beliefs, how did that make you feel?
I think politics has invaded schools and healthcare and just about every aspect of our lives. So I shouldn't be surprised that it is invading in some ways in the church. But did it make me feel uncomfortable?
Politics is not supposed to be invading the church. The church is supposed to be invading everything else. The true church. Because the government is supposed to be upon God's shoulders, but yet, look at this government. That is not upon God's shoulders. That is not God. There is nothing godly about this government. So you cannot tell me that God is in the government. No, he was given his walking papers. If God was in the government, you wouldn't have Moloch statues everywhere and devil shrines everywhere. And there certainly wouldn't be any of these graven images around abouts. Every idol would be smote down. God would already have that done. And there would be no graven images from coast to coast of America. So don't try to tell me that God is in control of these things. No, he's allowing evil people to do as they wishes. And then he's going to bring his wrath as he promised. Because he gave us free will to choose whom we would serve. And people are showing who they serve. And it's not the Lord.
Absolutely.
Singing alongside Keith and Cheryl Cox is Seth Calvert, who was drawn to this church first by its music, then by its message.
I'm going to give you a little warning here. LGBTQ elementary alert on this one. Inclusivity.
The Lord's table is the place where gay and straight and every other orientation in between can discover and receive the gift of God's life-giving grace.
Yes, the homosexuals can have the water of life if they are willing to come and be converted and be born again. No one can have the water of life without being born again. No sinner will ever enter the kingdom of heaven without being born again. And to be born again, you have to give up who you are and be who the Lord made you to be. There is no gay or lesbian or transgender. There's no such thing in the kingdom of heaven. The only genders that God created was male and female. He created the male and the female to be together, to populate the earth. And to love one another. not in quadruplets or quintuplets or whatever, thruplets and all these things that they want to invent. One man, one woman in a relationship together. And that's it. He didn't want one man with 7 wives. That's Mormonism. He didn't want one woman with 10 husbands. That's just foolishness. That's whoredom. No, we're not going to be doing this. We're not going to be doing this. And God and His angels are going to set things straight. Getting back into this.
It honestly, kind of rocks my world that there are people who are Christians who are actually open-minded.
The reasoning is they're going.
Calvert lives in Mount Vernon with his husband, Brandon. He was raised Southern Baptist.
I did warn you.
Felt increasingly uncomfortable with that branch as he aged, especially as he heard things from the pastor that conflicted with his realization that he was transgender.
If you see things going wrong, you always stay there and try and fix them. And that's what I was trying to do for years and years in that church. And then it got to the point that it's like, there's no way I can fix this. There's no way that me sticking around is going to be able to help these people see that what they're saying and doing is wrong.
It's almost like we've become a safe haven for refugees from other traditions and even other United Methodist churches who have felt excluded.
From other traditions. Yep, that's what you've done. You've become a safe haven for devils. Congratulations. You're a very inclusive devil. How about that? Where's your love for God and His Word? You don't have any. The love of God is not abiding in you. When you throw out His Word for inclusivity to include devils in your church, well, if they're not willing to conform, they are devils and they're not going to be a part of the kingdom of heaven. All of us must conform and come out of sin in order to be a part of heaven. All of us. It's no different for the LGBTQ elemental P community than it is for me. If I have to come out, they do too. So including them is not loving them. Telling them the truth that they're going to die lost is loving them. But guess what? When you include them, you're going to go right to hell with them. Because you're partaking of their sin.
Victor Long leads this congregation of the United Methodist Church, whose motto is open minds, open hearts, open doors.
The churches they often come from
Not
are
in
very
heaven,
rigid and narrow. And I know
Ain't no
some
open
have
door
come
for
from
that in
churches where
heaven.
politics was really the theme of the messages they heard. And they're looking for a safe place where they're not told what to believe, where they have freedom to ask questions and room to grow in their faith.
Where they're not told what to believe. The Bible tells us what to believe. But you ain't believing the Bible. You trying to write you on. Don't worry, some plagues are coming for you. And all that are just like you, who want to rewrite the Bible and do what you want to do. All those who want to be inclusive. Don't worry, the plagues are coming. Disease, famine, pestilence. You haven't seen suffering yet. It's at the door. Those doors that you was talking about being opened, they're about to be, but not the ones you wanted. And you will not be closing them because you don't have that power nor authority. I will see you in the next part.